You are at the ultimate guide of whether or not crafting or re-rolling is the best way forward. In this guide, I'm going to talk about location, if it makes a huge difference, whether or not, if you're on a server that's currently dropping, unyielding, or overeaters, if it makes a huge difference as well. This guide is quite comprehensive and it is based on armor first. I will be doing one on weapons next, but first of all, let's get straight into it. So first of all, to get you an idea of the level of this experiment, I have 1,178 legendary cores and 627 modules. I done re-rolling in things like the pit, which gave me a right wild ride. I also done it in other people's camps. I server hopped. I went into different bases like over where the Scorch Beast Queen was to make items. And I found generally with re-rolling and crafting, even when, for example, here I got an overeater set, I would then go back and then say, well, hold on, let's try it again. And I got another overeater set. It didn't actually make a huge difference. I think sometimes we play in our head that certain areas make a difference, but once I left a server, maybe got one overeater again, I thought, oh, this is going to be the place to be. And again, it would just be things like mutants, etc. So I found that location doesn't really make a difference whether you're crafting or re-rolling. So just do it at your camp. Unless you really are seeing something different, let me know in the comments down below. But I honestly, and I promise you this, did not see a difference. So one of the things that puts people off actually doing the crafting is the chance, of course, of getting 1, 2 or 3 stars. So if it was a chance that you could get a perfect roll every time of 3 stars, you'd be pretty happy and you'd stick with crafting. So on this one, this was one that I did, as you can see, all right legs, and I got a perfect 10. So I thought, well, what have I done? What's different? And I then was like, let's stay in this server, let's start crafting more. And it didn't. It was just one of them times the random number generator was nice and kind to me. The problem was, most of it was crap. So what I find is there is unfortunately no way. You are down to the pure lap of the gods, as they call it. But I am going to explain about across my 220 crafting experiments, how many 3 stars, etc. I got on the averages, and that should hopefully help you make a decision. But let me know, how lucky have you been? Do you find you get loads of 3 stars, or do you get like real poor crap all the time? I'd be really interested to hear, because I want this to be a community experiment. But from my experience, there is no way that you could increase your chances of getting a 3 star. It is all down once again to luck. And if you put your character on a huge luck, so like max it out, say 40, 45, that still didn't make a difference for me, annoyingly. So perfect question really, why not just keep spamming make me ones? Because for legendary cores it's costing us 5, and for legendary modules it's costing us 3. So it's not stupidly expensive really if we're wanting to. And because what frustrates people is when they craft and then they get a 1-star unyielding, they say, well, that could have been an amazing one, which is true, it could have been. But we know what this random number generator is like. You know, it always bullies us. Like, you get nearly a perfect roll if you're a blooded build for unyielding, and then it puts radiation healing on, and you're like, why? Why did you do that to me? And so, for me, you've just got to be honest with yourself, and you've just got to look at it and go, right, okay, it may have been a great one, but it probably most likely was poor. So you kind of want to look at, say, well, how much effort am I going to have to do to farm cores? If you're an event player, of course, you know that it is a little bit random on how many cores you get per event. The only ones that really guarantee it is a colossal problem. So, of course, people have got to start launching nukes. And the other one is encrypted. So that's going to cost you 2,000 caps to get the key card to sort of launch that event. And if you think on an average of 10 minutes per event, that means you're going to get 48 cores. That means you're going to get 16 rolls per hour on average. And so you've got to work that out and go, is it worth it just for that 3 star? Or is crafting better? Now, this is where I'm going to start talking about basic maths. So let's talk basic maths. Pretty simple basic maths. I tracked all 147 of my 3-star re-rolls. This wasn't crafting, this was re-rolling, and these are the stats that I came up with. What do you think? 147 items, what do you think I got that was decent? So I was tracking unyielding and overeaters. Out of the 147, I got 18 unyielding and 22 overeaters, so 26 positive. But then the second stars, 3 were awesome, which I would count as AP refresh, cryo resistance, and explosion resistance. Tell me if you disagree with that. So that left me 10 remaining items, and none were what I would call awesome, which made a final god roll, and 2 were kind of acceptable. That means my roll rate to get an awesome armor was 0.01%. So now let's compare that to actually crafting the items. Let's see if that makes a difference. So I did craft a bit more. I crafted 221 items. I got 41 1 stars, 62 stars, and 123 stars, which is not too bad. But out of them 123 star rolls, I got 16 unyielding and 12 overeaters, which means out of the 221, only 12% was actually usable. We've got some more confusing maths coming up in a second, so I do apologise if I am confusing you. Please leave comments if you're confused. But the last thing was, out of them 18 usable, I got 1 great roll and 3 okay rolls, which means that actually 1.8% was usable. I did say 0.01. It was actually 0.3% was usable on the others. So there's a slight advantage for me going more towards actually crafting over re-rolling. But now we've got to talk about the little bit more confusing and which one is better. So the key difference between re-rolling and crafting is re-rolling, you've got to grind cores. So you're going to be rolling about 16 rolls per hour of grinding. That's going on doing this, the colossal problem, where you do this in under 10 minutes and encrypted, which is going to get you the 8 cores. But also you are going to have to be looking at the extra things, which is on average, the modules that you're using, you're getting an average of 1.67 modules per star. So 1.67 modules per star. That's the most important bit, because when you look then at the good old crafting, this is where it gets interesting. So when I was crafting, the actual average cost per module per star was 0.42, and the average number of modules I had to spend to get a 3-star weapon was 2.21. Now, because of materials, I actually base this on buying them out of the vendors, cost me an average of 78 caps per star. However, one key thing about crafting is you can go and put it straight back into the vendor and get script back. So what that actually done was it lowered the stats even further. What it did was it brought it down to 0.31 modules per star, and the average number of modules for me to get a 3-star weapon dropped to 1.87, and of course the caps didn't change. So if you have loads of materials and you've got modules, I would say that the best way to keep re-rolling is to craft. I did not see a significant change with luck, location, daily ops, or anything like that. But the pure maths and the way that I tracked all 400 of my re-rolls, which was pretty useless if I'm honest, and I felt quite disappointed, was that in the end, if you look at just basic maths and you don't want to grind events or you haven't got many cores, crafting is the way forward. That's my advice. Do you agree with me? If so, leave the comments down below. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. If you want the spreadsheet, how I tracked it, then, of course, I will try and get that into the comments if people ask. But for me, I hope you found it helpful. Give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you again. Take it easy, people. Bye-bye.